So, hello everyone. So, the topic for today's lecture will be as follows. We will see the details on AS400 objects and its types. Then, we will see libraries under AS400 and the classification of libraries. Then, we will see what are AS400 commands, and then the coding techniques, wherein we will compare older method of coding to the newer way of coding techniques. So going ahead, let's start with our first topic, that is AS400 objects. Okay, so what exactly is this object? What comes in your mind when you hear this first? It is a named entity that occupies space in memory and upon which an operating system can perform some sort of actions. So basically everything inside this AS400 platform is an object. This is unlike many other software platforms where most of the things are files. Let's take an example of Linux. Here everything under platform is file and not objects, be it a printer device or anything. So as we already studied on the first lecture itself, that this AS400 is an object oriented programming, which means it is based on objects. So everything is an object and every object is categorized by its type. The object type identifies the purpose of an object and how it is to be used by an operating system. Let's have a look on some of the common AS400 object types that you are gonna encounter frequently while working on AS400 platform. Okay, so first in the list is library, and this is abbreviated as *libl. This is basically a container to hold other objects. Note a library cannot exist within another library, with an exception which we're gonna discuss later while going through the lecture in the library section. Now the next object type is command. And it is abbreviated as *cmd. This is actually shortcuts to execute programs. Next object type is file, which is abbreviated as file, *file. An object with type *file holds formatted data records. Another object type is program, abbreviated to *pgm, and it contains executable machine instruction. Next in the list is module, abbreviated to *module. This is linkable into programs written in the languages like RPGLE, COBOL, etc. Next in the list is we have service program, abbreviated to *srbpgm. This is a dynamic set of one or more modules which have multiple entry points label. We will discuss it later. So nothing to worry about this. Next, we have object type called binding directory, abbreviated to *bnddir. Then data area, abbreviated to *data-ara. Note again that we will discuss each and every object and the types in much detail as we proceed further in our course. So as of now, just note down the object type we discuss, not to worry if it's not clear in the first instance. Now our next topic is library. So what is library? As already discussed, library acts like a container to hold other objects. So basically this is a holding area for other stuffs, or better to say holding area for other objects. Now going with the PPT, it is a place where the commands or call programs are searched and processed. So suppose if you are executing something, then system must know where to find the objects that is gonna processed, and the answer to this something is what we call library. You can relate a library with directories in PC. Both both are the holding areas for related materials. Note that a library cannot contain other objects. However, an exception exists. This system library QSys, which is also termed as root or parent library, can contain other libraries. Apart from this QSys, no other libraries are capable to contain other libraries. You can refer an object either by its simple name or by using qualified referencing, that is exactly pinpointing the object's location, called qualified referencing. So for example, let's say you have a database file customers which is located in a particular library, say DP Vikas. So there will be two ways to have operation on this particular library, or better say there will be two ways to have operation on this database file customers. One is either just use its simple name customer, or use the qualified database file customers, or use the qualified way, that is library name followed by the name of the object, that is customer. Now in the former case, system will search the object customer in the library list, whereas in the latter case the system will directly hover to its mentioned location. Let's understand this with an example on the system. So as we can see, we have an object customer presently located in the library user 353. Now let's copy the object in another location, say qtem. So just give a qtem. Now type a command work obj customer on the command line. Then you can see the object option is displayed in two libraries locations, one in user 353 and another one in qtem. This type of referencing is termed simple referencing, as here we are not giving the exact location of the object in consideration. In this type of referencing, the system searches the object in library available within the library list. As the object was available in two libraries under library list, so we got two occurrences of the customer. You can see a library list by you typing a command display library DSPLIBL. And now let's try to get the object customer that is available in qtem. Now type of obj qtem customer, and here you can see the object that is present in library qtem itself. So I hope the object referencing portion would have been clear to you by now. Let's proceed to our next video, library list and the types. What is library list? So library list in AS400 is object used to locate objects if they have referred to with their simple name. This we already discussed earlier, so it should be clear to you all. Now the library list can be categorized under 4 different types, that is system library, current library, product library and user library. Let's have a look on each of these libraries types in details. Okay, so first let's discuss system libraries. System libraries are basically IBM supplied libraries like QSys, QHLPsys, QUSRsys, and this contain the objects required to run the system functions. By default, a system library can contain up to 15 libraries. Note that the libraries under system part comes supplied with IBM I package, and the value the contents of this system library is contained inside the system value called QSysLIBL. So note, all the libraries contained inside this system library list, that is QSysLIBL, will be treated as system library. Contents under system part can be changed for the current job to differ from the one already contained in QSysLIBL by using a command chgsysLIBL. But just note that we are not it is not suggested to change the contents of the system library, for the reason we are gonna see later as we proceed towards the end of this course. Next library type is product library. These libraries are placed just after the system libraries. So they have second rank in the search hierarchy. These libraries support language and utilities that are dependent on libraries other than QSys to process their function. Product libraries are actually added to the system automatically and removed when the process is complete. Whenever needed, the system adds the product library and removes it when the task completes. Consider an example. Suppose the user requested the compilation of an RPG program. Then the library containing the necessary translator program, that is QRPG, is inserted into the library list as a product library during the compile process and is removed once the process is complete. Both these actions, that is addition into the library list on task start and removal on task completion, is taken care of by operating system. No user intervention is required for either addition or removal. In general, up to 2 product libraries can be added within library list. Now let's see the next library list, that is the current library. It is a specially designated library list into which by default newly created objects are placed. Now what is the significance of this? Whenever an object is requested, it is the first user library that is searched before any other user library available under given library list. This library type is useful for the programmers in the sense that they can have their personal library used as current library on the top of the list regardless of what the user portion is. So in case you want to change the current library, then you can do so by using a command chglibl on the command line. Let's see this with an example on the system. Type the command chglibl and use the function key F4 to prompt. Take F4. So here you can give your library list that will then be treated as current library. So that means whenever any operation is performed, say an object is searched out, then the library name given in this current library section will be the first among all the user library list to be searched out first. Okay, so let's go with the PPT now. Basically, current library is specially designated user library into which by default the newly created objects are placed. It is the first library to be searched among all the user defined libraries, and if no current library exists in the library list and star curlib is specified as the library, then QGPL is used. It means that if you're doing some operation like creating an object with star current library specified in the library portion, then that object will be created in QGPL in case no current library is assigned. Now let's move to next part of the library type, that is user library. It is the last portion of a library list and consists of an application libraries that hold user objects. Now, what is the storing location for user libraries? Basically, the libraries to become the user part of library list are contained under the system value that we call QUSR LIBL. Let's first of all quickly understand this user defined library list, that is this system value QUSR LIBL. See, basically under IBM I, we have two defined sets of system values. And what are those two system values? The first one is this two system values. So the first one is system library list, that is QSYS LIBL. And the second one is user library list, that is QUSR LIBL. Now let's first see QSYS LIBL, that is a system library list. What exactly is this? This is an IBM defined system value which contains all the system defined libraries. So IBM puts all the libraries that are required to run the system functions within this system library list, or also called the system value. So any library contained inside this system value QSYS LIBL will be treated as system library. In case you want to change the contents under the system value QSYS LIBL, use command chg sys libl. Note, however, that this is not suggested for the reason we will discuss in the later part of the course. As of now, I am just giving a quick overview of all these terms, as otherwise it might be might gonna confuse you. So please don't worry if you don't quite understand. As of now, just note that all the system parts are contained inside system value QSYS LIBL, and all the user part defined libraries are put under system value QUSR LIBL. Okay, so going ahead with the PPT again. So let's read it for again. It is the last part of library list and consists of an application libraries that hold user objects. It's contained inside the system value called QUSR LIBL. There are certain user libraries which come installed with the system like Qtem, and there are others which are locally supplied. The users can create their own libraries and add them to the library list. So this is the basically flow diagram that shows the level of search which library list is. As you can see here, we have all these four libraries that we just discussed before have been ranked in the order of their search hierarchy. So as you can see, system library is the first one to be searched out, followed by product libraries, then followed by current, and finally user library is the last one to be searched out. Now let's have a look on the next topic, that is command. What exactly is this command in IBM I context? Exponent commands are something which a system uses to interpret the instructions from users. Exponent commands are something which a system uses to interpret the instructions from users. Okay, so most of the commands you will encounter will be a 3-letter abbreviations of the common words. However, this is not a hard and fast rule, and rare exceptions do exist, which we will discuss later as we proceed further in the course. So just let's take an example. So let's say we have a verb called work, abbreviated to 3 letters WRK. Then we have a verb called active, abbreviated to 3-letter ACT. Now as you can see, this is both these two verbs have been abbreviated to 3-letter words. Now if we combine these two letters or these two words which we got by just using the 3-letter words from the main verbs, and just combine this to another word, job. Combining it, we will get work ACT job. And this is a very useful command, in fact very useful and important command that you're gonna encounter very frequently while working under this ASP.NET platform. Let's have a look on the way to track the system. I mean, what I need to say. Let's have a look that how you can track all the system related commands. What are the major commands in the system, and in case you forget a particular command, then you can search it out by this way. So this is your system can sort out the system can help you in knowing the different commands that are available with the system. You just need to type a command go measure. Just we already typed it, and now you can see there are different commands being reflected in the right portion, like add, acc, add, az. All these are the commands based or actually add commands. So basically you can see all the system related commands or the major commands that are already available in the IBM using this command. So let's go with the PPT again. So system uses commands to interpret the instructions from users. Most of the commands are simply 3 letters abbreviation of the common words. Already we discussed and seen this. Now list of the major commands available in the ASP.NET can be seen by typing in go measure. To access verb command, type in go verb on the command line. So let's move on to our next topic, that is coding techniques. Here we will compare the older method of technique to the newer method. So see, okay, see, in early days of programming, coding was done by using key punching program in the cards, which were known as Hollerith cards or IBM cards. These are actually paper cards that contained several punched holes made by hand or machines to represent data. However, the current programming has been advanced a lot in the recent years. We no more use such method of hectic and time-consuming coding techniques. Current techniques now use a system utility called an editor. To assist on this, many tools, IDEs exist, that is called Integrated Development Environment. Two most common IDEs for IBM I are Program Development Manager, abbreviated as PDM, which is the software editor called Utilities ACU, And the second idea is RDI, that is Rational Developer for I, and this uses the editor called LPEX, or the Live Parsing Extensive Editor. Note, in case you've heard of something called fully free format version of RPGL, then this RDI is something which is the most preferable tool to leverage the same. So okay, so that's all for the today's session. I hope the theoretical part we discussed till now will be understood by all of you. As we go ahead further in the course series, we will focus more on the hands-on part. So having said that, let's wrap up the session. Till we meet again, goodbye, happy learning, thank you.